A very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Weekly on the West Ham Voice on a Monday night. I hope you're all doing well. Well, we finished the season at the London Stadium on a bit of a whimper, didn't we? Unfortunately, as per usual, we just didn't turn up for a home game. And we got beat in our last home game of the season against Nottingham Forest 2-1. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. And I'll bring you up to date on all the various bits of headlines that are knocking around that relate to West Ham United as well. Of course, I think the main topic tonight is Michail Antonio. And I'm going to ask you guys, do you think he deserves a new contract or should we be moving on? I'd be interested to hear your views as to what you think of that story that came out earlier today. What else? Well, there's an awful lot of transfer news, but I'm going to pick out the salient ones. I'm going to pick out the ones that I thought are quite interesting. Does it mean that they're any more realistic than any of the other bits of news that we've got? Maybe not, but I'll bring you those stories as well. But as I normally do, let's start in the chat tonight and see who's here. Good evening to you, Toha. How are you, mate? No, on time lately. So there you go. Cracking goal by Bowen, and happy that Wan-Bissaka is Hammer of the Year. Absolutely. It was a great goal. And in my sort of like my post-match review, I was so kind of fed up with the game as a whole, the refereeing and the fact that we gifted them 2 goals, etc. I forgot to pick out the good bits, but I'll come to that later on. Good evening to you, Stephen. How are you? Oh, Hammerette, come on, not that late. I hope you're well. Stephen again. What do you think, Stel? Keep Antonio for another season or sure, let him go, find another new number 9 in the summer transfer window? I've got my views. Let's hold those thoughts for a moment until I get through all the comments and the main bits of news. Who else have we got? Big Phil, good evening to you. I hope you're well. All right, Sheephans. I don't know who's that to. I'm hoping it ain't to me. Maybe it's to Hammerette. Hammerette. Of the players and their children on the pitch after the game, I wonder who the little one with the number 6 shirt was. That's a good point. I did see that. I don't know who that was. There were a few players that didn't turn up for the farewell. Antonio being one of them, and Danny Ings wasn't there. Bit odd, isn't it? Given that, it's interesting, isn't it? That for the 3 days in a row, up until, was it Sunday or Saturday, we had a farewell video from Cressy, a farewell video. I got my teeth in wrong. A farewell video from Soufal, and a farewell video from Fabianski as well. I haven't seen one from Danny. Is he upset? Usual. Good evening to you. Did anyone else think Bowen had a better game on Sunday without the captain's armband? Much the same as I think he always did. Maybe. Good point. Who else? Big Phil. It's not rocket science. He's a right winger. Big Phil again. Potter really worries me. He's well over his depth, not even under pressure yet. I'm going to give him time. I know there's already the Potter out brigade. And there was a story that came out today that compared his time at Chelsea to the first few months he's been at West Ham, and much the same, something like 1 win in 11 games at Chelsea. He dropped one of the strikers, I can't remember, Aubameyang at the time. And this story was likening that to the way he's dropped Fulkrug. He hasn't dropped Fulkrug. Fulkrug is just not a 90-minute player. But I'll talk about the lineup later on, the lineup that we had against Nottingham Forest a bit later on. But it was interesting, quite a few comparisons, of course, stirring the hornet's nest, trying to wind up the fan base even more. Look, I'll give Potter the summer transfer window. I'll give him a dozen games. If things don't change after that, then fair play. Let's go and make sure that he's out of the club. But I think it's a bit premature, to be quite honest with you. Hammerette, Big P, they aren't going to pay off another coach in the same season. Exactly. I do have confidence that Potter will bring in younger players this window if back. Totally agree. And I think we're going to see a very, very different West Ham United next season. Very different indeed. For the better or worse, I guess we'll find out. Love Antonio, Ian, but time to move on. The club could keep him around, but he will not be able to play at such a high level. I kind of feel the same, to be quite honest with you. Mr. Tiley, good evening to you. In my opinion, we should release Antonio, 35, great servant to the club, but no room for sentiment. Remember, also before his accident, he only managed one goal. Did I read Toha? The young Celtic striker Cummings was at the game. He was indeed. Yes, he was. Steve again. Potter's mentality must come into a starting midfield of Souček, Ward-Prowse, Rodriguez. What drugs he on? Well, I'll explain what drugs he's on later on, mate. I know you won't agree, but I'll explain my thinking as to the lineup. Hammerette. All we can do is hold on, hope for next season. Aside from relegation, it simply cannot get any worse. No, I agree. Daniela, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Debbie and Mark. Mark, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thought Todibo was going to deck the ref when he went right up close to the ref's face. When Bone and Paquetá complained to the ref and said, after JC got wrongly booked for the winning the ball, the referee. Why do we, for most of the times this season, have to talk about VAR and the referees? Why is it that in other countries, when you have big tournaments, Champions League, do you ever hear of a dubious VAR decision in competitions like the Champions League? I don't think you do you? You know, and but yet we have it week in, week out in the Premier League. You know, the best league in the world, but unfortunately, they're not the best officials in the world. Daniela. Hammerette, yes, we had a poor season. So have quite a few teams. It all starts again from a level playing field on the 14th of August. Ian, I've known some challenging times, but it's shameful what's going on, rotten at the core. Mate, if you're old enough as I am, there's been far more challenging times when we actually did get relegated. And that was pretty gruesome. Several times I've experienced that. Mark, if only we've got a Danny Ings goodbye video, he would probably sit there smug as Larry with a big wad of cash in his hand going, thanks a bunch, was a pleasure taking your money. So true. Hammerette, can we all drop a like? Thank you very much, Hammerette. Show Stelios some loving seeing it. Thank you. Yes, it was my birthday yesterday. Much appreciated for all the happy birthday wishes. Thank you, guys. And I can see a few in here. Mr. Barrett, it's been a disappointing season. Looking forward to it coming to an end. Aren't we all? Steve, Ian, no to relegation. That would be even more financial disaster, as no guarantee would come back first attempt. Absolutely correct. We wouldn't. We would suffer if we went down, not only financially, but as a club. Can you imagine all the fans who like buying tickets for Premier League games not turning up because it's no longer a Premier League stadium? 25,000 hardcore fans at best, and most of those are already leaving as well. Avid, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, mate. Thank you, Robert. Much appreciated. Good evening to you, Dads. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated as well. Good evening, M5. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, James. How are you? I hope you're well. Matt, through a sentimental POV, one more year, but through a business point of view, it's time to go. Since Ginge, we have lost a lot of players who've loved and care about West Ham United. Absolutely. Of course, I was on the show. I was on the Claret and Blues show yesterday morning, the 9 o'clock slot with, oh God, his name. I was with him. Not Nick, the other, fucking hell. See, my memory, old age, it gets to you. I was on the show yesterday. Yes. Paul, thank you very much, mate. And happy and nice to see you. Leslie, thank you, Leslie. I hope you're well, mate. Are you going on Sunday? Dads, Ben Roberts is supposed to be the next goalkeeping coach to replace Valeria. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. To be fair, he's worked with some young, talented keepers such as Pope and Sanchez. Chris, good evening, mate, from Bridlington. Just wondering how long before Bowen gets pissed off and wants away. I know he loves it with us, but nothing forever. Well, let's see. We might want to sell him and get a few quid in. I mean, he's what, 28, 29 years of age? Coming at that point, isn't he? He might have another couple of years left at West Ham. Would you be upset if we sold him? Bill, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Big Phil. Deserves, I wouldn't mask it that way. Personally, I think he should retire. We're talking about Antonio again. James, we have to move Antonio on. Sentimental reasons for keeping players like him happens often. It happens too often. And then what happens when we keep players for too long? Then we start moaning that we've kept players for too long. You can't have it both ways, people. N5, a coach's role for Antonio, perhaps, but in no way should we be offering a 35-year-old a new contract. We have to move forward. Avid. I love Antonio, one of my favourite players in recent memory, but it was time to move on, though he certainly will be a good presence in the dressing room and to help the new players adjust to the club. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. Stan, well, we've been worse, mate. We've been worse. Ian, good evening to you, mate. Nothing at all against Antonio, but the fact we're offering him a new contract of any kind lets you know where we are as a club. It gives you mixed messages as to what we want to do with the squad. That's the thing I'm confused by. Daz, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Kevin. Move him on. Great servant to the club, though through the years, but need younger, hungrier strikers. Dad's mixed days for me. I hope he's fit because he deserves a good send-off, a record breaker. Yeah. Are you talking about ability or sentiment again? Oh, I get that whole thing about sentiment. There were a couple of kids wearing number 9 shirt, possibly Antonio Sproggs. I didn't see him there. I might be wrong. I apologize if he was there. Daniela, watched the game in the pub. Really, 2 average teams. We were poor and they were not that good. They had overachieved if we and the Forest fans are honest with ourselves. I've got a Forest fan who watches and often comments, and he's quite a noble person. He's very polite, etc. And, I wish them well. I didn't like their play acting, but then I don't like play acting. Well, we seem to be one of the very few teams, apart from Paquetá, we seem to be one of the very few teams that bother with all that diving and stuff. I was disappointed at that, to be honest with you. Avid, do you have to say Guilherme was a bright spot for the little bit he was on? Need to keep him, give him more minutes next year? Absolutely. Look, he's acclimatizing. He's a young lad. What was he, 17, 18 years of age? We brought him over from Brazil. It's going to take time. I think everyone thinking that he was going to hit the ground running. I think it takes time for a young lad, for a player to be to acclimatise, etc. I like what I saw in him, though. Absolutely. Paul, how can you be carried off at halftime? Come running on for the second half. Forest bigotry. I hate that bit. I do hate that. Avid, any idea why neither manager fancied giving Guilherme a chance? He's got everything. Well, to be fair, I think Potter has been playing him a few times. I think we'll see more of him next season. Peter, I think it's time to let Mickey go. Why type of position someone else could get? That's my thinking as well. Who else have we got? Hammerette. Strolling around like he didn't have a care in the world when he had a few minutes left on the clock. Ref pissed me. The ref. I'm surprised Tadibo. I mean, if Tadibo had a falling out with Lopetegui in the dressing room after a game or whatever it was. What game was it? I can't remember. I'm surprised he didn't nut him. I'm surprised he didn't nut the ref. Bill, VAR looking for something which isn't there. What was it? 6 minutes? 7 minutes? What on earth? Well, was it or wasn't it offside? If it's benefit of the doubt, you've got to give the goal and play on. Won't like it, but there you go. Thank you, Martin. Much appreciated. Oh, Anthos, good evening, mate. 21 again? Yeah, about 3 times over, mate. Lawson, good evening, mate. I've no faith in Potter. There's only one way we're heading, and that's down. I don't know. I don't think so. Well, let's see what happens. Look, if the transfer window's a disaster, and then if the first dozen games are a disaster, I would agree with you. But at this moment in time, as Daniela said, you reset the clock, you start again next season when the season starts in mid-August, and you go from there, don't you? Good evening, Phil. I hope you're well. Matt, head-to-head versus Ipswich, played 9, won 4, drawn 4, lost 1, unbeaten in our last 3 meetings. And apparently they haven't won a game at home for what, the last 7 or 8 games or something like that? The gift that keeps on giving. West Ham United turn up and Ipswich turn it around. There you go. Bled, good evening, mate. Bleddy, good evening, mate. Did you sign? Mate, I was on the show yesterday, as I told someone else a little earlier. Good to see you yesterday, Mark. I hope you're well. Thank you very much, mate. Can't believe I was on the shandy, but I had to drive the bus. There you go. Trodge, Guilherme, Fulkrug and Alvarez, all Tim signings, and we tried to sell all 3. Yeah. Guilherme, I don't think we're trying to sell him. Fulkrug, look, I'm going to be really honest with you. If we sell him, I won't lose sleep over it. Alvarez, when Alvarez puts himself in the shop window and does an interview and starts talking about you never know what's going to happen, honestly, mate, just say I want to go rather than giving us that dropping hints, etc. Guilherme, I think we'll keep. Fulkrug, I won't lose sleep over. Alvarez, I'm disappointed. Jason, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Daniela, our record in 25 is 18 played, 1-4, drawn 5, lost 9, 17 points, 20 goals for, 23 against, goal difference 3, better than both Spurs and Man United. That's something to be happy about. Is it a lot to be happy about? Well, with small mercies, I guess. Andrew, Potter seems to rate Ward-Prowse highly. This is a big concern, especially with what we could be signing in the crucial summer rebuild. I would argue that Potter is rating Ward-Prowse highly at this moment in time because he doesn't have any other choices in what Ward-Prowse can do. Now, I know people don't like Ward-Prowse because all he keeps doing is passing it sideways and backwards. What he's good at is ball retention, and he can move the ball around. I reckon Potter is going to go in for a player, a younger version of Ward-Prowse, someone who can move the ball quicker. Someone's got a bit of pace. Don't go nuts when I've just said a younger version of Ward-Prowse. What I mean is a player that can hold the ball, that can move the ball, that can pass it around, that's confident on the ball, that can spray it around is what I mean. And when we get that player in, Ward-Prowse is likely to be a backup rather than the main man. Troj, if Potter is so intelligent, why does he repeat the same mistakes and lineups as Lopetegui? Well, I'll come to that in a minute. I don't think he made a mistake in the lineup. Let's not forget, it's the same team that beat Man United 2-0 the week before last. Let Bowen retire at West Ham, Matt. We need another noble farewell. The London Stadium needs that, in my opinion. Yeah, he might stay for good. Who knows? He signed a long-term deal. Dean, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you very much, mate. On the keeper coach, do you think we will go after Sanchez from Chelsea? I don't think it's Sanchez that we're going after as a coach. Oh, you mean the goalie? Sorry. Oh. That didn't cross my mind, to be honest with you, Dean. Matt, I'm happy for Crystal Palace for winning the first major trophy in their history. However, the fan base wants to pipe up about being successful. Well, Palace won another 6 cups. Then you can talk. We won another 6 cups. Yeah. I don't think Palace fans are giving it the large, are they? They're not, are they? Evening to you, Ian. I hope you're well. Rough season. I recall several relegations. It's not something I want to think, but there seems to be 2 or 3 people determined to keep it on our minds. Sully, Brady, and Potter. Robin Irons. Good evening, mate. Antonio's a bad vibe in the dressing room as a piss taker. Thanks for the service and move him on. Big Phil. As for Antonio, it's a classic Sullivan cheapskate trying to win some fans over. He won't win fans over by keeping him. I really don't think he will. I think this is down to Potter. If they're offering, I'm surprised we're offering him a deal. If it was Mickey, either retire or drop down the league. Yeah, agreed. Let's scroll down a bit and catch up with a few people. Sy, thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Hammerette, match of the day 2. Reckon the automated system wasn't working on VAR. I mean, use your eyes. Good. Honestly, VAR. Just get rid of the fucking thing. It's meant to have improved the game. It's made it worse. Just get rid of it. Just say it's a bad project. We've done it. We've done. We don't want it anymore. Victor, give Antonio a new contract. Is a car crash waiting to happen? Joey, good evening to you. I hope you're well. I think they're trying to give Antonio a contract as goodwill for good optics, but once again, they've got it wrong. I would agree with that. If that's what it's for, then they're completely missing the trick. Matt. Creswell's gone. Scarles can have a bright future at West Ham. However, we need to sign a new left back to help him out. Don't disagree with that. That's if Emerson doesn't stay. Dean, if JWP and Souček are starters on the first day of next season, will you be concerned? Yes, especially as we keep being told we're going to rebuild the squad. Trodge, come on, Stel. Everyone knew same lineup that beat Man United wouldn't work second time versus a totally different proposition in Palace. I don't know. Why change the old saying, the old adage, the old saying of why change a winning team? I got why he did it. I totally got why he did it. No, it didn't work, but I understood it. Can you imagine if he changed the team and then we lost and everyone would have been going, well, you should have just played the team that beat Man United. You can't win either way. Hammer it. I was going to get shot of Ward-Prowse, but keep Souček for rotation only. Ward-Prowse may still go. I just don't think we'll sell him. He's on 120 grand a week. He's on a what did Moyes sign him for? A 4-year deal or whatever it was. He's got a couple of years left on his contract. This is the problem. This is the problem with the way we do our business. And I just hope to God we change it from this summer onwards, where we're not pandering to the manager's whims and desires. I hope Macaulay, even if Potter only stays a couple of years, I hope Macaulay builds a squad that's going to last the test of time. So whatever other manager comes in, you know, he can take that squad and say, I've got a good squad. I'll work with that. This is what other clubs do. This is the difference between West Ham and a lot of other clubs that have seemed to have caught up with each other, you know, in the way that they know. Palace, Brighton, Brentford, etc. What they do is they have a strategy. They've got a strategy in place where they go, this is the style of football we want to play. What we'll do is get players in that play that style and get a manager in to manage that style. What do? Oh, yeah, we sack one manager. We bring in a completely different manager with a completely different style. He turns around and goes, I don't want half of those players. I'm going to get my own ones in. And then when he's sacked, I don't want half of those players. I'm going to get my own ones in. No wonder we're in a bloody mess. You know, this is the, and I talked about this on the Claret and Booze thing yesterday about the protests. I said exactly the same, much the same thing. We do not have a footballing strategy. Now, we thought that maybe with Tim Steidten coming in, that's what was going to give us that footballing strategy. That didn't work out, did it? All Tim Steidten ended up being was a glorified scout, you know, and a deal maker rather than coming in to what we thought he was going to be, where he was going to rebuild the team, rebuild the squad, rebuild West Ham, you know, get all the women's team and the academy and the senior team all playing in the same system, same manner, etc. That didn't work out well. That's where we go wrong. That's where we go wrong. So now we've got another summer of rebuild. How many years in a row have we been rebuilding our squads? Only because we've got no consistency. The irony of it all, the only consistency that we've had at West Ham over the past few years was Sam Allardyce and David Moyes. The irony of it. Two managers that all the fans hate because of their style, etc. And yet they're the only two managers that we've had some consistency on, because we get the Pellegrinis in and we get the Billiches in and we get all these other managers that like to play flair football and all that sort of stuff, the Lopeteguis. They fuck up and then, you know, knee jerk. Oh, get them out. They're shit. Get someone else in. Get a safe pair of hands in. And then that safe pair of hands goes, look at that squad you've left me. I mean, Moyes did leave an old squad. He left a squad that was, you know, had it. You know, and that was another problem. You know, that's when we pander. When we pander to a manager's whims, this is what you're left with. Now, everyone's going, look at David Moyes doing really well at Everton. I'll give him 1.5 seasons, maybe 2 at most, and then see where they are. They've got an old squad. Let's see how many of the younger players David Moyes is going to bring through before he starts relying more and more and more on the older players. Now, apparently there are 2 teams interested, Premier League teams interested in Antonio. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Everton was one of them. Mr. McLaren, good evening. All okay? Yeah, I was okay. Got home, had dinner ready, had a cake and all that, you know, so all good. I didn't drink enough, though. That's the problem. I didn't drink enough. Make West Ham great again. Potter out, the poison dwarf. Mark, one player who ain't talked about much and I think we should go for is Tyrick Mitchell. Is a free agent. He's that good left back for Palace. English homegrown. We do need a left back this side. That's a good shout. It's an interesting shout. Yeah, Andrew. We need a couple of maverick players like Payet, Di Canio, Benoit, Ben-Yoon. Too many. We have too many water carriers. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Hammer 84. Sappy 78, mate. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did indeed. Thank you very much. Cheeky git. Amarit, is it right that we have 0 inquiries for Kudus yet? It's absolutely correct. That's a concern, given that he's the main profit for our window. We keep him. We sell other players and we'll work around him. You know, we can work around him. We can get him to play better for us. There's a lot of endeavour from Kudus. He hasn't scored a lot of goals, but he's started to work hard. He's put in, you know, a good few shifts, to be honest with you. Kevin, Palace fans was brilliant at Wembley. That's what we want at the London Stadium, please. Don't get me started. I'm going to make an apology for anyone that watched my post-match review. Pete, I know we did one and I couldn't hear it, so I had to do another one. Pete McLaren did one with me, and then when I listened back to it, I couldn't hear the bloody thing. So I did another post-match review, and I talked about my apology is I had a go at the home fans, and yeah, the atmosphere. we've got this scenario at home games, haven't we, where it's been pretty poor, pretty turgid, and the fans are going, well, if you want us to cheer, we need something to cheer for. I get that. I accept that. We need to be cheering about something. But at the same time, aren't we as a fan base, a home fan base, aren't we meant to try and engender some atmosphere in order to get motivate the players? Isn't it a partnership in that way? It's been so quiet at the London Stadium, and everyone keeps going on about the London Stadium. It's not fit for football and all that sort of. I've heard that many times, but we've had some rocking moments there, Europe, etc. But we know we can generate an atmosphere, and it was like I had a go at the home fans, and maybe I shouldn't have done. But when last season, when David Moyes left, when fans were, when they were doing their round of walking round, saluting the fans, etc., the players, there were a whole load of fans there that stayed behind. This time round, what did we have? Give or take 10,000 out of the 50, 60,000 that turned up, maybe 15,000 at best, and it was like, I looked around and I thought, we can't even stay to celebrate, the likes of Creswell and Soufal, and Fabianski, great servants. We couldn't even hang around to celebrate that. And I just thought, what is going on? Yes, okay, there's one thing about the atmosphere of the stadium, etc. But what about us? What about staying behind? And so, all right, it's been a shit season. But the fact that we knew that the likes of Creswell and Soufal and Fabianski were leaving, I expected more fans to stay behind. I was a bit pissed off, to be honest with you, but maybe I should apologize to those fans. Maybe they've all had enough. I mean, I've done it, Pete's done it, and a few other people I know have been to game after game after game. We still go and we still hope for the best, but do we not have a responsibility to try and generate an atmosphere and try and egg the players on? I don't know, you tell me. Maybe I've got this wrong, maybe I'm completely wrong. Josh, hearing takeover rumours, does it look like Sullivan and Brady are trying to wash their hands of us, given how bad it's going? You seem more in the know. Well, I did 2 shows last week about potential takeovers. One of them was about, I can't remember his name, Robert Cottage, and everyone lost their marbles and they said, my God, please not him. And then the latest rumour is about the chap, Mark Walter, who is an investor at Chelsea, along with Todd Bowley. And now there was a rumor I got yesterday. I mean, a rumor. It was a comment that I was sent yesterday by a viewer who's a Dodgers fan, and he supports Chelsea as well. And he said, oh, you're going to do well now that Mark Walter, who runs Guggenheim Partners, multi-billionaire company, Guggenheim Partners, and his best mate, Todd Bowley, you're going to do well. They're backing out of Chelsea. Some other consortium is part of that setup, and they're going to take over fully, and you're going to get Bowley and Mark Walter. And I went, I don't know how true that is or not, but that was the message I got yesterday. Not from an ITK, it was from a viewer who's a fan of the Dodgers and Chelsea, and he reckons that they're going to take over. Well, I don't know. Let's see if that really, really happens. Takeover. A lot of people are quite dismissive of the takeover. Oh, well, they're trying to sell season tickets. Why not throw out a story like I don't know what happened there. I went quiet for a minute. I tell you what, my whole system needs a really good look at because everything's on tender hooks with my system at the moment. Anyway, what else we got? Darren, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Surely we should beat them, but this is football, isn't it? Graham, do you think Fab being upset about a lack of send-off on Sunday hints at managerial player communication problems with his club? No, I don't, to be quite honest with you. I think it's sad. I predicted that. I thought he was going to get half a game. I don't think it's got anything to do with that at all, to be honest. I think it was just one of those things. I think Potter actually wanted to try and get players out there to win the game, or to at least draw the game. And unfortunately, it just fell that. I think if the game went differently, I think you would have seen Fabianski. But no, I just think it was just, maybe Potter got into the moment. I need to bring subs on, be more attack-minded, etc. And unfortunately, Fabianski suffered from that. I would have liked to see Fabianski on for the last, 10 minutes or so. Darren, Guilherme looked good when he came on. We need to keep him for next season. I think we will. I don't think we will let him go. Darren did more in 10 minutes than Kudus did in 80 for Guilherme. Stephen, do you think Jamie Vardy will be a good number 9 if Antonio goes? Ironically, yes, I would. Ironically, yes, I would. I mean, he said You know, he's got legs for one more season in the Premier League. You know, I wouldn't want to see him go to somewhere like Burnley or Leeds United or someone like that. God, you imagine how nasty bastard at Leeds he could be. He'll score a hatful of goals for whoever. It will not surprise me if a promoted club turned round to Jamie Vardy and went, 1 year, mate, come and play for us. I wouldn't mind Vardy at West Ham. I wouldn't mind him. Why not? He'll score goals. He'll score goals for us. But I don't think he'd want to come to us. I don't think he likes us, does he? Kim Joe, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Say, fuck it, take the point deduction, spend the money because that's what Forest did. Well, this is, you know, they did it, didn't they? They broke, fell foul of FFP rules or PSR, whatever it is. They fell foul and they got points deducted and they got fined, etc. They took it on the chin and they actually, it's worked for them, hasn't it? It's actually worked for them. Make West Ham great again. Potter's job is to be is to get the best out of the resources he has. Good managers that he is failing. Amorim, you could say the same for him. Jovic, who took over Southampton, you could say the same for him. Van Nistelrooy, you could say the same for him at Leicester. It's not just Potter, you know. And I know everyone's going, well, look at what that manager did at Wolves and look at what David Moyes did at West Ham, at Everton. Would you have all been happy? Let me ask you a question. I'll play devil's advocate if you want me to. Would you have all been happy if David Moyes came back in and drove us up to something like 8th or 9th place in the league this season with the quality that we've got? How many of you would have spat your feathers out if David Moyes had been brought back, but he succeeded? You wouldn't want it, would you? You know, it's. I think I didn't want Potter in the first place. I'd said all about, you know, my thinking about him, you know, what it was like at Brighton, etc., and how I didn't think it was going to work. And then the first few games when he was at West Ham, I went, hang on a minute, there's something here. You know, hang on a minute, I think he can do something. Why it's gone from where it started against Villa, Chelsea away, etc., to what it's gone to now, I don't know. Team selections, whatever it may be. But I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance for this summer's transfer window, and see what happens next season. The atmosphere reflects the match. Does it, though? I remember going to football matches when I was younger, and even if the game was dire, we egged the team on. We're like, come on, we'll start singing and chanting and trying to, get an atmosphere going, which will boost the players. It kind of works both ways, to be honest with you. Dean, I think you're 100% correct with the recruitment model we should adopt, but I don't think it can work with the meddling of a certain Mr. Sullivan. This is the worry, isn't it? The worry is if Sullivan intervenes, then that model will never happen. Good evening, Harry. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Who else have we got there? Kim Joe, who was the truth about a fan base? It's too old. I didn't understand that. You're going to have to rewrite that, mate. My apologies. Good evening to you, Ralph. I hope you're well. Shit boring football, shit boring atmosphere. Ralph, you're old enough. Come on, mate. You would go to games in the past, even if the game weren't good, and you would try and engender an atmosphere. You'd start singing and chanting with your mates, etc. You know that's true. You know that's what we used to do as a fan base. Good evening to you, Leon. How are you? Even if the games were shit. And mind you, having said that, sometimes you could hear a pin drop at the old bowling. You know, here's the thing, the myth that, it was always steaming at the bowling. Every game we were rocking. No, we fucking weren't. You know, there were some games you could hear a pin drop. Leon. Good evening to you, Daz. Leon, evening still. Thank you, mate. Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Hammer it. I stayed for the players coming on the pitch post-match. Was a bit emotional, to be honest, with all their little kids with them. Yeah, it is. It was a nice thing to do. Trudge, I'm on a grump and don't think that they should parade families. I ain't got a problem with that. Steve, atmosphere, 6 of one and half dozen of the other team have got to give us the threat. I agree. I'm not suggesting for a minute that, it's only a one-way street, but, fans, that's what we are, aren't we? We're meant to be fans. We're meant to try and cheer the team on and get them going. Quebec, happy birthday. Thank you very much, mate. For me, there is no guarantee that our transfers will prove profitable. Mark my words. Profitable? You mean in selling? Then we won't let them go. I think we're at a point now where if we can't generate the money that we need to generate to buy new players, then some players will stay. Simple as that. Andrew, we've been served up a shit sandwich this season. Can't blame fans for not hanging around. What, even to wish Creswell and Soufal and Fabianski farewell? I'm sorry. With the greatest of respect, Andrew, I don't agree with that. Kevin, well said, Stel. Agree with you about the atmosphere. Right on. Dean, as soon as we started having a go yesterday, the crowd got right behind us. This is why it's really odd that this team are set up so defensively at home. Darren, pissed me off with Merson and Ferdinand moaning about West Ham players' kids being mascots. I thought it was great to see, and I stayed when the players came out as well. Steve, my mic is dodgy recently. I don't know why, but I'm going to have to check all my settings when this show's over. Because do I sound okay now? Trodge, like all newspaper stories about wags and personal lives, etc., you have got a bone to grind. Mate, if there was a genuine takeover, we wouldn't know about it until it was done. It's senior source nonsense to distract us. I don't know if it is. It might be. But, Mark, if that did happen and Bowley got hands on the club, he was the one who got Chelsea to splurge over $2 billion on players. Wouldn't want that to happen here at West Ham United. Well, unless they have $2 billion worth of decent players, then Darren, my lunch, I didn't have lunch. I had a bloody, what do you call it? Oh no, that was lunch on Saturday, mate. Eamon, it was good. Sorry, but I agree with you, Stel. Pretty poor showing. Some fans will complain about the board not giving Creswell a testimonial, but they can't even stay behind to clap the players like it. That's the bit. It was an emotional time for the fans. It was an emotional time for those players. It would have been nice if there was a few more fans who stay behind. Josh, I think we have a responsibility as fans to create an atmosphere, but I think we're too far gone. We're going in negative, expecting the worst, and therefore fans can't be bothered to support. Yeah, that's a fair point. But that's what I was thinking, Paul. Vardy will end up at Leeds. He will, won't he? It's the sort of club for him. It's the sort of club for him. Daniela, love it or hate it, the stadium is our home. We're not moving the short or long term, so everyone just needs to grow up and deal with it. You either want to watch a game or not, so stop crying. Poor. Punchy, Daniela. James, Brighton just beat Liverpool 3-2 after coming from behind. Well done to them. I didn't even know there's a game on tonight. Mr. Bailey, how are you? I wanted more attacking football this season, never got it. We got it in splurges, but not enough of it. Let's hope and see it happens next season. Daz, Stel, Ipswich next. What do you think? I genuinely don't know. We play so much better away from home than we do at home. I'm going to say we're going to win, because I always say we're going to win. Juha, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Bring back David Moyes. We had enough dull losing football. We need your tactics to make the fans sing again. Trodge, most human thing I've heard this season was from Fulkrug about us being shit. Yeah. He ain't delivered since, though, has he, mate? To be quite honest with you. I respect him for doing that. But put your money where your mouth is on the pitch. Matt, Gabby on TS said Delap should sign for West Ham instead of United. Thoughts? It won't surprise me if he goes for a big team, but I would love him to come to West Ham United, to be honest with you. Upton Park wasn't the Bernabeu. No one remembers the games when the atmosphere was crap. They only remember the great ones. Exactly that. What I just said, mate. You're absolutely correct. Andrew, we've done the right thing, letting Moyes go. Absolutely no regrets. We just made a monumental cock-up of his replacements. Yeah, that's fair. Darren, Fabianski should have played yesterday, so could have got a good send-off as well. Yeah, at least a few minutes. Harry, the Cats have been TikToking with your equipment. Do you know, I don't know what it is. Do I sound any better? I don't know. I'm going to have to check it when check my whole system tomorrow, I think. Sean, good evening, mate. Surely the likes of Ward-Prowse are only getting game time to put them in the shop window. Evening to you as well, mate. I think until we get, hopefully, yeah. Do I want to keep Ward-Prowse? Not necessarily want to keep him. But if we get a player like him in, good ball control, move the ball around, etc., a younger version of, then a backup might be all right as a backup. Andrew, I stayed behind to clap the players, but I can understand fans who didn't, in fairness. I can and I can't, Andrew. One thing about a game being shit, etc., but this was about saying farewell to certain players. So each to their own. Who else have we got here? Josh, I think that's just it. We have no plans for replacing Rice, Fornals, Benrahma, Lanzini, Moyes, etc. No plans for anything going forward. No, we don't. We don't have plans. I take it Vardy is 45, so what? He's 39, isn't he? He's 39 years of age. Right. Let's give you some news and then we'll come back to the Antonio thing and the game briefly as well. So very, very briefly, Loan Watch. Luzal, do you remember him? Made his second and third consecutive starts for Pogon last week, playing the full 90 minutes in a 3-0 win away to Mota Lublin and 3-3 home draw with Lechia Gdansk. Results that put European qualification in Pogon's hands, heading for the final game of the season. Apparently, he's doing quite well, despite the rumours that he's not doing well at all. Interesting, eh? Luzal. I'll come back to him in a minute. Gideon Kodua was introduced as in the closing stages of Wycombe Wanderers' semi-final second leg against Charlton Athletic on Wednesday. After nearly 180 minutes of goalless minutes across both legs. Oh, you know who won and all that. Just that Gideon Kodua played. I'm going to give you a bit of transfer news. Yeah, here we go. Who remembers about 3 years ago when I talked about a player who was playing in America? And he's back. I mean, it's lovely, isn't it, that these stories do their rounds and they're back again. Valentin Castellanos was playing. I can't remember what club in America he was playing for, but apparently we were dead interested in this player signing for West Ham United. He ended up going to Italy instead. But apparently we face stiff competition from Wolves, Nottingham Forest and Everton to try and get this Argentine signed for us. As per the reports, the Hammers are now close to making an offer for the 26-year-old for around 25 to 30 million pounds. Well, 3 years ago, we were really close to making an offer and nothing materialised there either. Do I believe this story? I think it's a load of bollocks, as per most transfer stories are. Apparently, we're looking at him in order to replace Nicholas Füllkrug in the summer. Do I think Nicholas Füllkrug will go? I think there's a really good chance that he will go. And I mentioned this the other day. Füllkrug will not want to be a bit part player at West Ham United with the World Cup happening next year. He's going to want to play regularly. And I don't think he's going to get regular game time at West Ham United. I think he'll be off the bench. And the reason why I don't think he'll get regular game time is because we will be signing a striker this summer. And that leads me on to the stories yet again. Tammy Abraham, apparently on loan at AC Milan. He's signed for Roma on a permanent basis. Apparently, again, we're looking at trying to sign the former Chelsea player. Graham Potter hasn't the best resource available to him in recent weeks, but the club faltering, etc. up front is gonna, apparently we're gonna go in for, I don't know, 25 mil, 20 odd, 25 mil to get Tammy Abraham. I think it won't be a bad move. Years of age. Let's see what happens there. I mentioned Luzal a minute ago, and I'll mention him again because apparently Luzal, the reason why we haven't let him go is because we're going to use him as a makeshift for player swap and cash for Yuri Alberto to sign for West Ham United. Now, I think this might be the third year in a row that we're interested in Yuri Alberto, and still nothing has happened. Do I believe that story? Not really. I don't believe that Luzal is going to be used as a makeshift. Now, apparently, Daniel at the game at the London Stadium at the weekend, watching us get beat by Nottingham Forest. This Celtic young player, 19 years of age, we've heard a lot about him, that Mark Noble has been tasked to bring him into West Ham United. If he does sign for us, and the fact that he was at the London Stadium seems to suggest that he will do, Celtic would get something like £300,000 worth of compensation because he developed in their youth ranks. Now, apparently, he's been given, we've lured him to West Ham because he's been promised first team football. Should never promise anyone anything like that, should you really? He hasn't played much for Celtic's senior team. He's made a few cameo appearances. I think maybe only one, actually. But he's been prolific for their B team. In other words, they're under 21s. Now, some other news, some backroom staff stories. You guys have already mentioned one of them. It's rumoured that goalie coach Xavi Valero, who's been at West Ham United for 7 years, is going to be replaced by Ben Roberts, who worked with Graham Potter at Brighton and respectively at Chelsea. And that's quite interesting. Someone mentioned a goalie, can't remember his name now, from Chelsea. Maybe it's going to look 7 years. Valero. I don't know his coaching style. I've got no idea, but I think it keeps going on its own. I've really got to get my system checked out. We've got to look at how our goalies have been. Do you remember when Alphonse Areola first came to West Ham United and everyone was raving about him and going, "Bloody hell, Moyes, why don't you play him? He's our starter, our first team starter." And now a lot of fans are like, "My God, get rid of him." Could it be? I've said it a few times before. Could it be the goalie coach more than the goalie himself? Look, what he did on Sunday was appalling. Passing the ball to the opposition and them scoring. But on the whole, great shot stopper. But has he ever been good with his feet? I seem to remember when Areola first came to West Ham United, he seemed to be quite a dominating force in his 18-yard box. And now it seems he's just a good shot stopper and nothing else. Could it be because of the goalie coach? Who knows? Another coach who might be coming in, this is former West Ham striker, Jermaine Defoe. Now, I don't know. I need to check it. I haven't had time to actually look into this properly, but I know he was coaching academy players at Spurs. So I don't know if he's still doing that or not. But it's interesting that we're looking at the potential of bringing in Jermaine Defoe. Now, bringing in goalie coach Ben Roberts, who worked with Graham Potter, and bringing in Jermaine Defoe seems to indicate to me that West Ham United have got no intention of sacking Graham Potter anytime soon. And rightly so. Like I've said many times before, give him a transfer window. Let's see what happens in the first dozen games in the next season and see how we get on from there. And the fact that he's bringing in coaches seems to suggest to me he's here for the duration. Let me take a few more comments and then we'll go into the game and then we'll go into talking about Antonio. Who else we got here? Let's have a look. Trodge. All went crap when Ben Rama replaced Fornals on the left. But Fornals was never a left-sided player. He was forced there. He was a central attacking midfielder. Paul, good evening, mate. Thank you for joining. I hope you're well. It has been a long time. I hope all is well with you. Are you going to Leicester at the weekend? I hope to see you there. Hammerett, Will Stills talks with Southampton. It would be a bit romantic if he does well in England. He could end up a West Ham coach. Yeah, but that will be, look, if he gets Southampton, if he does get the job and he gets Southampton back up, fair play to him. I want to see what Will Still can do in the Premier League. Andrew, I thought Chris Wood was excellent on Sunday. Very underrated player. To be honest with you, I didn't notice him much, to be honest. Glenn, the only person, Karen Brighton, I get rid of. The only person, Karen Brighton, I would get rid of David Sullivan. Christine, good evening to you. Should Lucas Fabianski play at Ipswich on Sunday or no? He's missed his chance. I think Potter should have played him at least 10 minutes in the final game at the London Stadium on Sunday. Kenny, watch it on other channels saying we're looking at a transfer embargo. Oh, that's an awful low. Right, let me give you the background to that. Thank you for reminding me about that, Kenny. I can't remember the player's name who came from a Russian team. Someone's going to tell me who it was. We signed a player from a Russian team a couple of years back, and then all the embargoes came out on, not paying Russian companies because of the war in Ukraine, etc. And this was one of the, all football clubs were told not to give money to the teams that we bought players from. So this isn't a West Ham United thing. And now the Russian team is sort of crying wolf and going, "Oh, you haven't paid us our money. We're going to put a transfer embargo on." It's not going to happen. It's a sensationalist story that's got no element of truth in it whatsoever. Matt, I'm off to work. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you do. I hope it all goes well at work. Thank you very much. Let's hope we win and Spurs F up in the final. Rather United win it than the Muppets. Thank you very much, and have a good evening at work, mate. Dick, good evening, mate. I'm looking at a Lamborghini. Okay. Thank you. I hope you're well, Dick. Paul, long time no. I think we all need to remember that we've had 3 managers in a season. None of these players are Potters. Yes, it's been poor, but we need to get behind him next season. 100% agree, Paul. I can't, and this is why I'm like, people are going Potter out, Potter. Give him a chance, people. If he fucks up with his own squad, and we're not seeing any better in the football on the football field, then fair play. It's open game, open season for him. But like Paul says, I would give him a chance. Let's see. Who else have we got? Hammer it. At this point, I don't give a F who we sign as long as we actually do. Well, no, you would. You would give a damn. Because if we sign Callum Wilson, you won't like that. So please give a fuck as to who we sign. Trodge, all the articles suggest Cummins was promised first. Yes, yeah, as I've said earlier on. Rowley, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Speed in midfield plus a striker, please, and thank you. Yeah. Can you imagine a couple of really decent, speedy midfielders and a prolific striker? Would be a completely different looking team. Who else have we got down here? Sean. Bruce was in SLF for longer than he was in the Jam. Here we go. Started talking about other things that talking about music. Steve, stop banging it. I'm sorry. Did I bang the desk? That's probably why everything went off. Trodge, no, I always said Areola sucked. Okay, I never did. I like Areola. Thank you, Andy. Much appreciated. Who else we got? Paul. Never good with his feet. That's because he should use his hands. And if he has to use his feet, punt it up field or Rose Z. But these goalies now, they're being told to. I don't like it. I get the whole idea about build from the back, etc. Not everyone's good at it. Play to your strengths. Toha. Harry, I managed to slip teabagging in my leaving speech at the last job change. True story. Areola or Ramsdale? Fucking no thanks to Ramsdale, mate. Absolutely not. Anush, good evening to you. Please, could you give your opinion on Guilherme, as I feel he could be really awesome. I think he's got, did I say Leicester? No, I meant Ipswich. I think I give him a chance. Yeah, I think it might come good. Thank you. It was Vlasic. Thank you very much. Usual. Let's get Defoe back, and why not bring Paul Ince back as the public? Come on, let bygones be bygones. Paul, come on. Defoe was a good player from CSKA Moscow. Exactly that. I don't know what fair enough, but I agree with you. I was right, wasn't I? So whatever it was. Sean, Vlasic was the one plus Kral on loan, both from Russian. It was about Vlasic. They're moaning that we're not paying them the final part of their pay, but it's embargoed. Huge. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. The problem with giving Potter, you haven't finished your sentence. Only people I want out are Sullivan and co. Ramsdale is not an upgrade. Ragsdale is a backward step. Right. What did I do? Did I do the headlines? Yeah. Oh, God, I didn't show you the photos, but never mind. Match review, shall we? Review of the game. Hang on a minute. Let me get a video up so I can get a drink of water. Right. What can I say about the game not to piss you all off? Well, let's start with the changes or no changes, and as the case may be. Now, I know Trod and a few others have said, it wasn't the right team, etc., etc. Look, when you're a coach and you win a game of football, you always go, don't change your winning team. And not only did we win a game of football last week, we won it with aplomb. And I know what people are saying. Yeah, but it's only Man United and they're shit this season. Well, it's only West Ham and we've been shit this season as well. So last week, it was two shit teams playing each other and we came out tops. And we came out tops in a really good way. Good movement, good passing. The first goal that we scored against Man United, a 30 pass goal. And as I said last week, and when I did a review, if that was Liverpool or Real Madrid or Barcelona or any other team around the world that scored a goal with 30 passes in it, we would have been waxing lyrical about it. I totally and utterly get why Graham Potter picked the same team on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. Yeah, fair play. It didn't work. But in all honesty, we weren't shit at the weekend. We didn't play absolutely shit. We were in control for the first 10, 15 minutes or so, or whenever they scored. Then Areola makes the stupidest of mistakes. Give the ball. He's been told to play that way. Pass it from the back, build it up, etc. So I don't blame him for trying to execute what the coaches have told him to do. It was just a really shit pass. A really, really shit pass. You never put it in the front in your 18-yard box. Get it out wide, absolutely. But when it's going right in front of you, the player that you're passing it to has got to be 100% aware, and it's got to be an 100% accurate pass. And it didn't happen. And Gibbs White caught it, scored a goal. We gifted them that goal because up to that point, we were all right. And actually, even after that, it's not that we didn't actually play shit. There wasn't, and we had chances. Souček in the first few minutes of the game had a header that could have gone in. We had our chances. We had chances. And it wasn't as if Newcastle, it wasn't as if Nottingham Forest were running all they weren't all over us. They weren't beating us in every area of the pitch. It was the first half was kind of holding our own. And then in the second half, when we made the changes, as usual, as soon as we made the changes, we concede another goal. Now, many people told me, because I couldn't see the free kick from where I was in the Bobby Moore lower, but many people said, look, it wasn't even a free kick in the first place. And when I saw the highlights, they were absolutely right. It was really weak. It was a really weak free kick. Was that the one when Todibo was given the booking? I can't remember if that was the one or not. But it was not a foul in the first place. And then this whole thing about VAR and taking 6-7 minutes to try and check whether it was offside or this, that, and the other. It was just ridiculous. But they were two easy goals. Look, we should have defended that second goal better. We've got 3 centre-backs there, all big centre-backs and so on. We should have defended that second goal a lot better for them to get a header in a crowded 18-yard box was really disappointing. They were two, and this has been the story of our season. We give away soft goal. We've given away so many soft goals, and it was so disappointing to be 2-0 down when I was looking at the game and thinking, apart from the goal that they scored in the first half, this game was fairly even, and did we get better when we brought Paquetá and Fulkrug and all that on? Shall I tell you why I won't be disappointed if Fulkrug goes? I think the reason why West Ham fans love him is because he spoke out and he scored 1 or 2 goals so far this season. But on the whole, I don't think he's the answer for West Ham United. I really don't. I look at the way he plays his football, and I'm not so sure that we're slow enough as it is. Fulkrug isn't exactly the fastest player in the world, and what I want to see is not one striker to be bought. I'd really love to get 2 strikers in the summertime, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid if Nicholas Fulkrug left. I really wouldn't. I want to get 2 decent strikers who know where the back of the net is, who can create their own chances. Fulkrug needs the chance. He needs to have chances created for him. And when people talk about other players and would you take Vardy? I take Vardy because not only can Vardy latch onto the ball created for him, he can also create his own goals as well. And I'm not advocating that we go out and sign Vardy, but I'm talking about the sort of strikers that we need. And we were kind of, we got ourselves back in it. A fantastic goal from Jarrod Bowen. The way he controlled that ball and the way he scored, it was just superb. Absolutely storming goal. But it was too little too late, even with the 11 minutes of added time. And I looked at that game and I said to myself, did we deserve to lose? No, I actually don't think we did. We shot ourselves in the foot. We gave them 2 goals. And if we can stop that shit, and if we can get players in who are a little bit pacier in midfield and get the right striker in, it's a complete rebuild again. But that's why I'm giving hope for what's going to happen in the summer transfer window, because we've got to eradicate the mistakes. That goes with goalie and other players. Paquetá has been guilty of giving the ball away and our opposition scoring. Our defenders have done it. Our goalie's now done it. So it's not just one or two. It's not just one player. It's several players. We eradicate those mistakes, but we also have players who are pacey. We need those midfielders who can help out in defence and create attack as well. So it was a disappointing finish to our home games. Did I actually expect us to win? I actually don't think I did. I think I might have said 2-1 to West Ham, but I'm always saying 2-1 to West Ham. I just don't think we were going to win that game. At best in my head, I was thinking we'll get a draw out of this. It'd be a boring game. But of course, we've got to talk about the officiating as well. And I'm not using that as an example. We lost the game. The officials didn't lose the game for us by their poor judgment. We lost the game, but the referee completely lost the game, completely lost control of the game. VAR didn't help. His reffing decisions, I mean, some of the most bizarre things. There was a foul on our player at one stage, and he picked the ball up. He had it ball in his hand for several minutes, and then he gave it to Nottingham Forest. Like, there you go. It's like, hang on a minute, mate. It's our free kick. And then the melee at the end, he allowed that to fester. He had no control. He didn't know what was going on, who he was meant to book, or anything of the sort. What a shame. What a shame that we've got the so-called best league in the world, but we don't have the best officials in the world. Look, we're done with now. I actually said in my post-match review, I'm really happy that our final game of the season is away from home, because I think we'll put in a performance against Ipswich, and I think we'll do really well. And whether we win or not, I think we'll put in a performance. We just haven't been able, for whatever reason, to emulate our away form this season. We can't do it at home for whatever reason. Stadium, atmosphere, whatever it is, there's some kind of mental blockage for our players. We can't seem to turn it on and really beat teams at home. So I'm quite glad that we got our final game of the season away from home. I'll be traveling up there with my mates, and we're just going to make a day of it, and we're going to try and not let the football ruin it for us. Well, God, if we did that, I would be, be depressed by now. But the game itself, look, the game, ironically, I thought the game was quite even. Ironically, I don't think Nottingham Forest looked like a top 6 team. I congratulate them if they do get it. Absolutely well done to them. What I didn't like was the play acting and the fact that the stupid referee kept falling for it. The minute they got the ball, they went down. It was like, that's cheating. It's cheating. It's a tactic that I don't like. It's been bought from other leagues around the world, and I hate it. And I'm so unfortunate that a lot of teams in the Premier League have been trained in a way to do that. You know what? We get the ball, I'll just go down, the ref will blow the whistle, we lose our momentum, breaks the game up. And that happens to us so often, happens to us on a regular basis. And I hate that. What should happen there? A strong referee should go, you're pissing around, you're diving for no reason. I'm gonna give you a red card. And that'll bloody well stop it, because if players start seeing that their play acting is actually going to be rewarded with all right, it's too extreme, but a yellow card, and then you're on tenterhooks. Then you got a yellow card. You're not going to piss around again, and if the refs start, addressing this and tackling the cheating that goes on when players dive all over the place, and they yellow card them, they'll soon put a stop to it. They'll soon put a stop to it. So overall, I wasn't surprised we lost. If we'd have drawn, I would have been like, yeah, that's all right. Don't matter. I don't think they were that much better than us. We gifted them 2 goals. What can I say? We had to create. I mean, great pass from Paqueta to Bowen, who controlled it and smashed it in. But did I think that the lineup was wrong? Like I said, no, I don't. I don't think Potter got it wrong. I think he was looking at the previous week and went, this is the team that won me a game and won it with aplomb. So I'm going to pick the same team. The changes that he made, yeah, Paqueta looked like he had a point to prove. Fulkrug, I don't know what he offers us, to be quite honest with you. I want a better, younger striker to come in the summer. And if he goes, I'm all right with that. All right, let me do your comments. And then the last thing we'll talk about is Michail Antonio. Charles, Guilherme looks better than Kudus, sad to say. I don't think he looks better than him. Kudus has played a completely different game this season, and it just hasn't worked for him. But Kudus looks like he's a man who's ready to leave West Ham United. Robert, United owners don't deserve to win, cutting staff, etc. They don't. But do you really want Spurs to rub it in our faces if they win and get into the Champions League? Good luck, Man U. Daniela. Christine Tinling, UEFA has scrapped the Europa Cup final as the 2 teams are crap. I wish that were true. Avram, how are you? Come back. All is forgiven. Why take 30 passes to get to the goal when you can do it in 3 or 4? Come on, mate. That was a great goal. It was proper ball control, possession of the ball, and passing it and an end result to it. Charles, I'd seen Lanzini put one in the net for River Plate. Yeah, I saw that the weekend. Pretty good. Leon, usual break that down, please. Haven't Scooby about odds. I don't know what Usual said, but I don't know where he said it, so I'm going to scroll on. They hit the post twice. Yeah, they did. And and Areola pulled off several good saves, but so did their keeper as well. Come on. Do you really think they were all over us, Ralph? Be honest. Because I was there. They weren't all over us. Trudge, they were stronger and quicker and better in the air generally, I thought, in the first half. But overall, how much did they... I don't know. Maybe I'm watching a completely different game. Hammerit, how can we all see it so differently? I thought they were absolutely turd for 70 minutes. That's football, isn't it? Trudge, we made the same mistakes as Lopetegui did. A very physical team who bullied us. Yeah, I'm not saying... Look, I'm saying I get why Potter put the same team out. But I agree with you. It didn't work out. I agree with you. But would have putting on, I don't know, Paquetá would have made us any more physical? I don't think so. Many people want Fulkrug to start. No, I don't see what you lot are seeing in Nicholas Fulkrug. Sean, if you £8 on Spuds, you lose £8. If you put £8 on Spuds, you lose £8. Ronnie, mate, good to see you yesterday. The ref was generally poor, but we were not going for it. We're not going for it, but were they all over us, mate? Good to see you yesterday, by the way. See you early in the morning at Leicester, at Ipswich. Trudge, Guilherme opened things up and Paquetá helped. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I think Guilherme went at them. Paquetá with his passing was pretty good. Leon, well, mate, I will hang on to the slim chance. Couldn't bear them for other to win. You're talking about the Europa League final. Hammerit. The midfield was diabolical. How Potter thought it would be similar compared to Manx is beyond me. Yeah, I accept that they were more physical in midfield. Yeah, fair play. Avram. Fulkrug, the type of striker that relies on players around me. I need good service. We're doing F-all crossing enough. Yeah, this is it. We put Fulkrug on, but we don't cross it to him, and that's fair. Ray, evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. GJ, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I would love Forest to get into the top 4. That would be awesome. Yeah, if they stop diving, they may do it. Usual. Orient on Sunday are 5-2. It's the value bet for me. Clive, good evening, mate. Thank you for joining. Avram. Happy H, I agree. I think if we started how we finished, at least a point. Yeah, maybe. I'm very well, Scott. I hope you are too. Scott, again, ref was dodgy. Should have listened to Bowen early on when he spoke to him. He was awful, the referee. Really, really, really poor. But he weren't the reason why we lost that game. Trudge, I don't know how ref didn't see some of those things. He didn't look like he was a Premier League level ref, did he? He really didn't. Tommy, good evening. Poor old me. I'm old. Don't feel sorry for me, mate. Daniel, still thinking outside the box. Yeah, it's not worked for him at Man United, but a club with less pursue like West Ham, a cheeky £15 million bid for Rasmus. Do you like him? Maybe he's got potential. Yeah. Avram, for the love of Christ, please play 4 at the back against Ipswich. He probably won't. But let's see what happens there. Scott, Soler coming on changed the game for us. Very noticeable how we were able to progress the ball forward. Ralph, 100% he started the wrong team. Man, you were crap. Forest aren't. We're crap too. That was my point, Ralph. We're crap too. Let's not forget, we've had a shit season as well, as have Man United. So it's 2 shit teams playing each other, and yet the better of the 2 shit teams won that game with that team. Funky. Evening, great show. Thank you very much. Do you think any academy players will make the first team next season? Potts. Freddie Potts will come through. I think Scars will stay in the senior squad. Do I think anyone else? What is that message? Oh, I better get rid of that before the whole thing crumbles. Potts, I think, is the player that will come through. Salamar, good evening, mate. I heard we're going to sign another wonder kid from Brazil. Breno Bowden. Never heard of that name, to be honest with you. Mr. Levy Jr., how are you? Jumped on late. Just finished the podcast with Gatesy. Going back to beginning to watch. Thank you, mate. I hope all is well with you. Hamret. I find it incredibly hard to believe that we had Ferguson stayed at Brighton. He would still not have been fit enough to play. Well, you do know the backstory to that, don't you? I think I mentioned it last week. He doesn't apply himself. unfortunately. He likes a night out, so, and I think he was sent to West Ham, Brighton were hoping that Potter will sort him out. Clearly not. Trudge, I think Earthy most likely to adapt pre-season. I don't know. I think Earthy might go back out on loan. I'm dead sure about Potts. I think he's proven himself, to be honest with you. I think he is the player that will come through. Fingers crossed. Kelly, I like Kelly, but I think he'll go out on loan again, maybe to a championship team. He did indeed win the title with Doncaster Rovers. Darren, can't stand the tippy-happy passing around to keeper and defence. We need to stop that. I don't like it either, to be quite honest with you. Right, okay, let's finish off with Michail Antonio. And it's a simple question to you guys. I know a lot of you have had your comments already, but for those of you who have recently joined, what do you think about the latest story about Michail Antonio? So let me give you the backstory to it, which is something I received earlier this evening, and I put out a brief show about it earlier on. So the story goes that Michail Antonio is believed to have been offered a short-term contract extension this week. A transfer source has said that the West Ham forward has been offered a contract extension on smaller wages, doesn't quote how much those wages are, in the hope that he gets fit and can find an alternative club. So my thinking is a short-term deal with lower wages. It sounds to me, and I could be totally wrong, it sounds to me like it might be a 6-month deal up until the transfer window in the winter. And then hopefully he can move on to another club. The club source has also gone to say he has a number of alternatives. And we've since found out that the number of alternatives apparently are 2 Premier League teams and a Saudi team. Now, whether that's true or not, I do not know. Or whether that's posturing from his agent might be more likely. So sorry, that went off on its own again. I'm going to sort this system out when I'm done. I'm going to, over the years, I think he's done great for West Ham United. He's been a fantastic servant, but I thought his best was past him at least 2 years ago, at the very least 2 years ago. So to hear that he's been offered any kind of deal, I think it's a surprise. And as I said earlier in the show, I think this sends out really mixed messages as to what is it we want to do with the squad this coming summer. We keep hearing that we want to build a new squad of younger players, more dynamic players, etc., etc. Surely that goes for not just our midfield, but at the back as well, and our striker as well. We do need a dynamic striker. I don't think Michail Antonio is that dynamic striker. Someone said in the chat earlier on, before the car accident, he only scored 1 goal this season. He is a diminishing, he's diminishing in his value to West Ham. I genuinely do think we should have sold him at least a couple of years back. I really do. So it does surprise me, and it is sending out a mixed message to me as to what is it that West Ham want to do with it. I've got a feeling. Look, I'm only guessing. I've got no insider knowledge about this, but I've got a feeling this is more down. An offer has been more down to do. I'm trying to put the pieces together. It's more down to do with Antonio's state of mind, which is why we're offering him this deal. Maybe he's quite fragile mentally. Maybe, it's taken its toll. That car accident, he's lucky to be alive. He said it himself. He's lucky to be pulled out of that car accident alive. And maybe what West Ham are trying to do is to give him that leg up to say, look, mate, we'll give you the 6 months. It's lower wages. If you play, you might get a bonus appearance money as well. But we'll give you 6 months to get fully fit. And then come January, when you're ready, you can go and sign for another club. I think that's what seems to be happening here. I think that's where this is coming from. And it is more sentimental reasons rather than it being footballing reasons. That's the only thing I can put, keep looking at the details. Lower wages, okay, obviously. Short-term deal. Short-term deal does not mean another year. They haven't said they've offered Antonio a 1-year extension. They've said we're offering him a short-term deal until he's fit enough to be able to go and find himself another club. And I just think this is maybe helping him on a mental health level, is what I'm thinking. I might be wrong. I might be speaking out of line. I don't mean it in a bad way, but this is the impression I'm getting. That he's come out of this accident in a really bad way. They want to help him. They want to help him recover. Give him that opportunity to recover. Give him a few, some money, wages, etc., while he's recovering. And then when he's ready, which sounds like it could take until the end of this calendar year, leading into the January transfer window, it sounds like they'll say, "Okay, mate, we've got you back to as healthy and as fit a level as we possibly can. Now it's time to say farewell." So it won't surprise me if Antonio accepts this deal. It won't surprise me at all if we see him leave on a free transfer in January. Now, these two clubs, Premier League clubs that might be in for him, it's possible. And again, I'm thinking, who would want to take him? Possibly Leeds and possibly Everton, and only because of the David Moyes link. Saudi club coming in for him. That's also possible as well. And in all honesty, given the demands of the Premier League and what it expects of you physically, he would do so well to go, another 1 or 2 years, I'll go and play somewhere like Saudi, get paid a king's ransom, and then retire on that money. Would make an awful lot more sense then. And I get it. I mean, fair play to the man for wanting to get himself to a level of fitness where he believes he can play Premier League football again. Fair play for that. But I just don't think he can. And it's sad to say it, but I just don't think he can bring himself back to that level of fitness. So that's my theory. I've got no one has turned around and said to me, "Oh, this is the reason why we're doing it." I'm just reading between the lines, short-term deal until he gets fit. That's what the statement said. A short-term deal until he gets fit, which sounds to me like, if you remember the interview we did the other week, and he talked about, sometimes my brain tells me one thing, for my legs to do something different, etc. And he said sometimes it's a real struggle. I mean, everything freezes up after training, etc. The legs, etc. And it sounds to me that he won't be kicking a ball until about June. Only the first steps of maybe kicking a ball in June. It sounds to me like it's going to take him a several months longer to get himself fit. So do I believe there are other clubs in for him? I'm not sure that I do. I'm not sure that I do believe that. I think that's agents posturing, to say, "Look, West Ham, you're going to lose him if you don't sign him up." I don't think there are other clubs that are going to take that risk at this moment in time, knowing that he's still got quite a way to go with his recovery. Once he's recovered, which may take until the end of the calendar year, and then they'll turn around and say, we've helped you out, mate, and we've done our bit. Now it's time for you to leave and go and find yourself a new club in January. That's how I'm reading this. I could be completely wrong, but you tell me what you think. Good evening, Anthony. I hope you're well. Avram, Potts, Marshall, Earthy Skulls, get them in fighting for the badge. Pace and youth with experience, mentoring them, help them bed in. Potts, yes. Marshall, he's done extremely well, but I think he'll go back out on loan again, quite possibly to a championship team. I think Earthy will again. Skulls, definitely. Could we play a mascot next season? Maybe in goal. I remember Steve Potts. He was a loyal player. Absolutely. Scott, it's hard to watch unless it's during my lunch break at work. I have another year before retirement. Mate, you've only got one more year. I've got several, and I hate it. Neil, should only be offered a coaching role. I don't think he wants to play. He wants to play. Harry, nice touch by the club. They didn't need to offer him anything. All I know is, Scott, we're the oldest and slowest team in the season, and that has to change. Leon, I think another championship team will take a punt in the summer. I think he wants to play Premier League football. No sound. I hope you can hear me now. Please don't tell me I've been talking for half an hour and you can't hear me. I hope you can. Might be loose wiring. I think it might be, mate, or loose wiring in there, probably. Trodge, don't mind Antonio getting a reduced deal as long as it's not a high wage. Well, he's on about 85 grand a week. Even if they halve that, that's still about 40 grand a week. That's not bad. Usual sentimental signing for me. Time's up. Thanks for everything, but it's good night, nurse from me. Sean Stell sending out subliminal Morse code messages. I decoded the last one as Brady out. I hope you can hear me. I really do. Stell copying the old Soviet radio. You better hear me. Please tell me you can hear me. Fuck, I hope I haven't been speaking for half an hour without you hearing me. Anthony, it would be nice to have Paquetá stay on his feet during the game instead of diving under tackles. GJ, I love Liam Brady. Yes, he was old, but he was a genius with a ball. Yes, he was. Different times then. Nice touch by the club. I thought they were nice touch by the club, but I thought they were skint. Probably having him around for changing room as he won't play again for us. Gennaro, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. His pace and power was fading long before the accident. Just underlines Sullivan's lack of ambition. I think you may be spot on this. I don't know what I said when you made that comment. Well, it was only a few minutes ago. There you go. What about Antonio and why I think we're giving him an extended deal? Possibly. Stephen, do you think it's time? I think it's time to move on from Antonio. We need new strikers. Hammer it. If we're getting Cummings, then makes sense to have Antonio as a backup for the first half of the season whilst Cummings together. That's a good point. That's a good point. 6x9. Good evening, Danny. The only role Antonio could possibly have is as a cameo sub when we're winning, hold it up, bash into people with free kicks, but we aren't winning at the moment. Still, I think your summary seems plausible. It's a massive guess from me, but I'm trying to make head or tail of the statement that's come out, and I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Scott, again, with the oldest and slowest in the Premier League, I don't mind keeping him, but we need a massive shift. Steve, but just how rusty is Antonio going to be? I can't see it. Exactly that. Exactly. You know, not only has he got to get over all these injuries that he sustained, he's then got to get match fit, which would take several months longer. Trudge, as long as we don't rely on him again, we can't, can we? Martin, very interesting stuff about it. It's a guess. I'm truly please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this as fact. I'm no IT. You know damn well I'm no ITK. I'm just trying to make head or tail of why we would offer him this deal. And it sounds like it's more for sentiment than it is maybe because of what he's going through, etc. Maybe the club are thinking this is the best thing for him. Stabilize him for a while. Keep him stable somewhere where he knows, somewhere where he can feel comfortable. Get him back to full fitness. And then, mate, you know, good luck to you. Neil, why he can't say if he will even get... Why he can't even say if he'd get fit. We'll pay him 100 grand a week for nothing. The club says we're skint. Well, this is it. He's not going to be offered 100 grand a week. He's been offered a reduced deal. Mark, after clearing out Creswell, Soufal and Fabianski, keeping Antonio on an olive branch. No, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Audi, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I enjoyed the Forest game. I saw improvement. We created some good chances from good all-round passing and movement. Kudus and Soufal did very well. Watched the game twice. Potter, we tried. This is interesting, isn't it? We talked about this, Audi. A lot of people think very, very differently. I said I didn't think we were any worse than Forest. But then again, people gave me stat. They hit the post twice and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think they were all over us. And I saw more improvement in previous games. I saw a little bit of it there, Audi, in that game, but not quite as much as I saw against Man U the week before. GJ, Carl Reddy, he also played for Wales. He's my cousin. Is he? Oh, Stephen. Love that. Thank you very much. Antonio was great, but do you think he would have stayed if he hadn't had the accident? I don't think so. I actually agree with you there. I think he would have been another one we would have let go of if the accident didn't happen. Antonio's wages would be paid by insurance. I don't think it will be. This wasn't a footballing accident. So I don't think it will be, to be honest. Gennaro, sorry, Stel. I think you're grasping at straws. There's no room for sentiment in our current predicament. Great servant. Time to move on. I wasn't given that senorio as a suggestion that he should stay. I'm of the opinion I think we should have moved Antonio on a few seasons ago. But I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to get my head around why. And I think, you know, the fact that we've offered him a new deal seems to be more out of sentiment because it doesn't look like It's a footballing reason, if that makes sense. Avram, I think he will be used in the mentoring capacity for someone younger. Possibly. Paul, can't complain about Antonio as being a law servant, unlike playing Ings for doing nothing, and he didn't even turn up to say goodbye yesterday. Andy, to be honest, does Antonio need any wages? He must be a multi-millionaire. Maybe just offer him training and medical facilities rather than a new contract. Hope this doesn't sound... No, it doesn't sound harsh at all. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Steve, Antonio short-term contract in the road safety department. Natasha, Tash, good evening to you. I hope you're well. This season reminds me of Sam Allardyce. God, I'm going to think hard about that last season with him. Trodge, he is probably skint after you deduct all the supercar accidents. He's not skint. Sean, he self-diagnosed depression and then admitted he didn't try in several games. 100% get rid. I am back. How long was I gone? Oh, God. How long was I gone for? We can hear. Thank God we can hear you. And most people are saying, oh, God, we can hear you. Sure. We can hear you. It was only for our thank goodness for that. So thank you. Avram, Antonio needs to be restricted to bicycles and public transport. Don't put him on a bicycle in public transport anywhere near a road. That's cruel. I'll take that back. Avram, apparently we're in for a Danish player who's off to prison. Yeah, I talked about that last week. Can't remember his name. For driving offences. 20 days in prison he'll last. Neil, Antonio playing for us again, for me, would be a massive sign of failure and a relegation distinct possibility. This is it. I just don't know. I don't believe it. I don't think he will be able to play high-level football again. Thank you very much, Gennaro. Much appreciated, mate. Harry, Hammers lose at home this weekend here, Scott. We always lose at home. Up two, down. How are you? Make it clear while we're offer high. Makes it clear while we'll offer him a reduced contract deal now. Avram, apparently we're in for Rodrigo Huescas. That's him, Rodrigo, for driving offences. That's I talked about him last week, I think it was. You're a week behind, people. Come on. If you watch all my shows, you'll catch all this rubbish. Scott, yeah, I watch every game, though some have to be watched after the fact due to work. I also watch most under 21s and under 18s, even the ladies when I can. Anthony, the crap is hitting the fan, according to Clarendon Hugh. The directors want Potter out. Don't listen. Clarendon, I'm so disappointed with how Clarendon Hugh has gone over the last few weeks. Last few months, actually. Stell to make head or tails. Just toss the coin, mate. I know. Garino, how are you? I hope you're well. Delapin talks of Man United, according to Athletic. Fair play. Let him go. You know, he wants a big team. Fair enough. Montana, Stell, I wish we went for Glasner instead of sticking with Moyes. Isn't he good? You know, the warning sign was when Glasner beat Moyes with Eintracht Frankfurt against West Ham in the Europa League semi-final. That should have been the call out for he's good, Glasner, isn't he? Especially the bad start that Crystal Palace had. Well done to them. Man United linked with every single player, even worse than us. That's true. That's very true. Arturo Masaaki is for right back. He sounds familiar. I bet he's shit hot. GJ, if Antonio boosts morale and is a good guy generally to have around, that's a bonus in my mind. But he wants to play. He wants to play. He doesn't want to be, you know, someone in the background. He wants to play. Garino, Man United spending billions again. Delap, Cunha, etc. Well, when they fuck up with a better team, then Amorim will certainly be not the guy that we should have got. David, Antonio should earn his corn by driving the team. You really don't want that. What else we got? Mr. Dodsey, how are you? I will see you at Ipswich. We're getting there around 10:30, mate. But we're not going to the pub across the road because it'd be full of fucking West Ham fans. You don't want that, do you? I hope you're well, Dodsey. Steve, defenders had Antonio's number for a year or two now before the accident. Now no chance. Got to go. Avram, Sean Whetstone is Sullivan's secret love child. Pass it on. You've been watching the cartoons then. Scott, Montana, yeah, need a full-on midfield rebuild. We absolutely do. Garino, Clarence Hughes said rain tomorrow. I will take my sun cream. Montana, Danny Ings has thrown his toys out of the pram. I heard, well, he weren't there yesterday. He didn't turn up to say farewell to the fans. There you go. I forgot. How much did Aaron Wan-Bissaka win Hammer of the Year by? I don't know, but congratulations. There's news. Congratulations to him. Absolutely 100%. Well earned that. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's been superb for us. Montana Stell, I like the current Leicester keeper. We should try and sign him. He's letting more goals than our keeper, mate. You sure? Usual. I've lost the finger, so my tattoo reads love and hat. Is he a good keeper? He's letting. I don't know. I've not taken any. I've really not taken any notice. I'm done. An hour and 30. Thank you all very much for watching and listening. I'm making cap. No, I wouldn't make my Misaka captain. He's too quiet. Thank you all very much for watching, listening, and commenting. Really, really appreciate that. I agree with you. Just for being Greek, he should have. Oh no, that's not the one. I agree with you, Avram. I think just for being Greek, he should have been Hammer of the Year. There you go. That says a lot, doesn't it? Josh, Aaron Wan-Bissaka fully deserved it. Bone is always solid, but Wan-Bissaka has been consistent. If you were from Norfolk, you could have it glove and hat. Right, that's it. That's it. I'm going. Thank you all very much for watching, listening, commenting, being part of the show, and all that sort of stuff. If it's the first time you're watching, should have said this at the beginning of the show, please do become a subscriber. It costs nothing to subscribe, and all the content is free. And if you've enjoyed it, as you're leaving the video, please hit the like button. The like button is really important because it helps the channel elevate and all that crap in the YouTube world of algorithms. Thank you all very much. Have a really great week. One game left. And then we can put this misery of a season behind us and look forward to all the players that we're not going to sign in the summer transfer window. Boy, am I going to be busy giving you all the latest updates of all these players. And I'm going to be building your hopes up. And then the next morning I'll say, no, we're not buying him. So thank you all for watching, listening, and have a great week. And I will see you all very, very soon.